Hey everybody, today I want to quickly talk about Vim, Neovim, and my Salesforce dev setup inside it. Let's dive into it. Okay, now let's start with Vim. I'm going to just file Neovim, what's called nvim in my text editor. And the Neovim is the forked version from the original Vim editor. And the reason that I'm starting to use Neovim is because it has very popular added feature on top of the Vim. But as a basic Vim introduction, it's the same feature. So here, as you can see on the bottom left, there is a normal text indicator there. That means we are in the normal mode. And if I hit the keyboard I, the key I, where's my mouse? Then it enters the insert mode. So in Vim, we have the normal mode and the insert mode. In normal mode, we can go around the text in the text editor, and then we can hit some key. You can on the button, there's a pop-up. It tells me, okay, now you can hit some key combinations to fire some actions on top of the text. That's we're gonna talk very soon. So let's give some more text here. So for example, in Vim, we can fire some key combination like a DAW, which means delete a word. I call it like, this is like a semantics, because it's really easy for your brain to memorize. Like here, the word, right? The L, the letter, and the DAP, paragraph. So it tries to have these meanings in your head. So what does it really do? If my cursor is in the middle of a word, then DAW would remove this word. You see, I hit DA, then the final letter I'm hitting the keyboard is W. So you gotta delete this word. DAL would delete that letter. Oh, wait a second. DAL. Was it? DL. No. So it's not DAL. I don't quite keep these things in, so it's DL. But anyway, DL would delete a letter. And there are, on top of that, it has extra feature like a delete two letters, right? Then D2L. You see, it deletes two letters from the cursor. Or D3 letter, D4 letter. It's the same thing, okay? So it's kind of like a semantics building on top of the basic one. It's like layer by layer. Then you learn this text editor and build really complex features that you want to do. And I also call this semantic as a verb plus noun, or in Vim we call it motion plus text object. So basically it's like a delete a word, right? It's a verb plus something you want to take action against to. So as a text, of course, there are words, there are sentence, there are paragraph, there's a whole like page. All these things can be done in a similar way, so your brain can easily memorize that. But the powerful things comes from, you can build plugins to extend the motion, which means the verb and the text object, which we're gonna talk later, because now we only talk about like modify the text. But as a programmer, we're dealing with the languages, so we can build language related text object and emotions, so that we can extend the kind of motion plus text object combination. We will talk about that a bit later. And the last thing is not really Vim related, but I think it's very powerful and very useful in nvim, in Neovim. So I'm gonna just quickly talk about it. So it's called a fuzzy search. So it's a term comes from this FZF GitHub. So it's a terminal kind of fuzzy search tool. You see, it's very popular. And what does it really do? If I come back, is that, for example, what it can do is it can have text inputs to this FZF, and then it gives you a way of selecting an item from the input. That's a really abstract ways of telling it. For example, I want to fire some sf command, right? sf. You can see in the past, this is the zesh give me like a hint that I have typed this command in the past. If I can hit Ctrl E, it gives me this. But as we know, sf command could accept multiple different combination of argument. So in the past, I might have typed many different versions of this sf command. So fcf, what it can do is that I can fire a keyword, and then I type sf, and instantly it filled out all the history commands in my terminal and give me the sf related to it. And then further down, I can say, okay, I just want to get the retrieve actions. I'm interested in retrieve. You see, each letter when I start to type, it matches in my history. And maybe it's just, I have an org called Shishel 100. Well, you see, really quickly, it narrows down, and now you can navigate to the one. Select the one, you can modify something, like I don't think it's 100, 200, and I can fire the command. So this is called fuzzy search. We're going to see this a lot in Neovim. That's the reason I introduce it here now. Okay, now let's start to talk about the Neovim. So why do I choose Neovim instead of the original Vim? Is that the Neovim has two major added popular features that I like. The first one is that it does not use the Vim script. It has the Lua script. What do I mean is that if we go back to here, I remember Suraj had his dot files still in Vim script. As you can see on my screen, that this is the Vim configuration from Suraj, and he has still the old Vim script version of it. You can see there this function with this exclamation mark, which is kind of weird, and then we have this hash, right? And here as well is, I don't know what is this, and this a semicolon. So if I quickly open my, this is the Lua script in my configuration. So you can see it's much easier to understand this. If there's not, there's a loop, there's functions, you know, these things are much easier for us to interpret, and the language is much modern, and it gives us much more joy to create the Vim plugins instead of using the original Vim script. That's one of the major reasons. The second reason is that Neovim has the Treesitter built in. So what is the Treesitter? Treesitter basically is a language parser tool, and it's already built in. You can see a lot of modern language it has already supported, and you can see even now we have the Apex parser. The Apex parser actually is done by what's it called? SF Apex Treesitter, yeah, like this one. I want to mention Anthony because he's the author of this Treesitter Apex parser. Okay, I've talked a lot. Let's still look at what does it really do. I'm just gonna quickly open, let's open the bigger file. For example, this file. So I have this file here. Let's just open the, we can quickly look. So the Anthony created parser can really parse the entire Apex language file into this kind of like a JSON nested node. If you can see, if I put my cursor on top of class declaration, it's the whole on the right side here, on the right side window, you can see it's highlighted with the entire file. That means this class declaration matches to the highlighted ones. And if we go down, you can see one by one it matches, and it's a nested nodes one after another. And you can see there are like method declaration, field declaration. So basically our Apex is interpreted by this parser. And what's good of it, right? So we understand it's parsed, but what can we do with it? So once it's parsed, for example, these highlights on this screen that are done by Treesitter. So once we have this interpreted syntax tree, what we can do is that we can create this kind of query SCM file for Treesitter to give the matching to the keyword in the file. For example, we can say these symbols in our Apex file, we match it to this punctuation bracket keyword. And this keyword is defined inside the Treesitter, and it will match to a color highlight group. Basically, you can understand is that once the file sees these symbols, it should give it a different color. And these ones as well, it matches to the color of these keywords. And we have identifiers, method declarations is a different color, etc., etc. So from this SCM file, we have defined how we can highlight the text. So this is a big achievement. In the past, without the Apex parser, we have used Java's parser, which is a similar language, but it's not perfect. For example, if we have these ones, right? If we have the circle queries, then it cannot be interpreted correctly. So this is the highlighting part. There are other things that I have defined in the Treesitter. Let me just quickly have a look. So this is my Treesitter configuration. I have defined the text object as we discussed previously, right? For example, we have this, the close bracket M, which does it do is that if I stay here in the Apex, I fire this close bracket M. You see, it jumps to the method, the following method. If I fire it again, it goes to the next method on the line 30 line. If I fire it again, it goes to the following method in 16 line. I defined this keyword so that I can jump backward and forward between the method definitions in my file. And some other definition I have given, for example, I have given, if my cursor is here, I just want to move around this node in my Treesitter. I can fire this bracket T, T stands for Treesitter, bracket T, it goes to the left side node, it's a one by one jump. This is another thing I defined. I can also move to, for example, the next parameter. It's like bracket A, I just move around, all these things. And I can select the entire method like this, or VAM, the entire method, not inside the method. And I can delete an entire method as DAM. Remember the text object, the motion plus text object is delete DAM. Okay, these things we can define. So if I quickly open my another definition, you can see there are this mini plugin. It defines O as a text object and M. So O is like a loop. If I have a for loop in my text editor, I can quickly locate it to the O. I can delete the O inside the O. All these motions is applied automatically to this text object. That's a power with this motion and the text object combinations. So all these things can be defined, and you can see there is something I commented out. I don't think I like those ones, or I don't think I need them. So this is about the Treesitter, and specifically for Salesforce developers, I have defined a little plugin so that in the Treesitter I can, or let's say in the Neovim, I can fire like space S here. I can like push the current file into the target org P, then I can fire this current file SF related command to send it to the current target org. And the target org currently is defined on the bottom of the we call it a line, Lua line, so it's C#100. That's the name of the target org. So I can also fire another command to retrieve, as R is the retrieve command I defined. So it can go to the target org to retrieve that file. What else I can introduce? Of course, I can change the target org. Let me shift to, you see, it changed it to sandbox 1. So now if I retrieve, the action is against this sandbox. So there are these little things I just built because they are really basic but really important. And there are other things like I can fire test. If I st, I can run the whole test in this test file. You see it fires that command, and I can just fire this one, specific one under the cursor. So if stt, it's under the cursor, it just fire this single method. And the good part is that I can use the Treesitter node to know where exactly the cursor is under, and I can detect whether it's in the test method. If it is, then I can fire this testing command. If it is not, then I just throw an error. For example, my cursor is here outside of the test method. If I fire the same command, it will give an error on the button. Then I can quickly talk about the plugins I have in Neovim. So basically we have our dot files. It's saved in GitHub. You can have a look. We have all these ones that are the plugins we have used, and these ones are the configurations. I can quickly open them. Right, these are the Vim configuration, but there are a lot of things if you don't have a clue yet, but gradually you will start to learn what these things are about. Lastly, I want to quickly talk about the flow, how I use Neovim plus tmux. Let's exit the tmux. So if I open the text here, so this is the Ubuntu inside my Windows. It's a headless terminal here. So if I file tmux, I usually type T. I give a shortcut T. It will pull like a little script to pull from my dot files in case I have updated anything in my another computer. So now here everything is up to date, and by default I've entered the tmux. In tmux I've defined keys like I can open a new window. You can see on the button there's like 1 and 2. I could jump between these two windows with hotkeys. Right. The first one typically I would like to just open my Neovim, type N, and now I'm under this finxxi/.config file. So, and now let's talk about the fuzzy search used in Neovim. So if I now tap space FF, it will list me down all these files under this folder, and I can easily say that what I want to go to. I want to go to init file. I will quickly type init. You see the first one is the init, so it gives you quickly this feedback what you want to search. And sometimes I just want to open another one, for example Treesitter. We have talked about Treesitter. I know it's Treesitter Lua, so that's the Treesitter Lua we want to open. Sometimes it's mini, right? And of course there could be some situations that you have typed in the past, but it's not under this folder. For example, there were some Apex files I opened in the past, but not in this folder. I can fire a space question mark to open the recent files. Again, the recent file history is the text file names, right? It's path plus the file name. So those are all plain text. So FZF allow me to get this text input. I can quickly say .cls, right? All these .cls are listed here. So I can quickly locate, or was it called http.cls? Well, quickly I can easily jump to that, right? So the fuzzy search in Neovim is really powerful, and you can see that I basically don't really use these navigator tree structure things anymore here, and I don't really use any tab on the window like the Visual Studio Code has. So it's really fast way for me to navigate. And in case I really want to interact with my folder structures, I have a plugin called Oil, which I can file it. And the good thing with Oil is that you can hit enter to enter these folders, right? And you can go up. These are basic things. But the power comes with the Oil is that it's just a buffer that you can use all your Vim skills to interact with it. You remember we talked about this motion text object. So now if I use C in Word, it will delete that word and put me into the insert mode. So I can say init2, I can give a different name, I gonna save it, it tells me, okay, do you want to change it? Yes, I want to change it. But if I really change this, then my setup is gonna fail. Well, I'm gonna mod it back, I will just delete this one, save it again, save it. I can also delete some other files if I want, you know. All these things just apply to a plain text. That's the power. Everything just building on top of your existing knowledge in Vim. tmux, actually, I have built a little tool to help me to navigate through multiple sessions. It's called a finter. So if I've installed in this terminal, if I type in finter, it will give me a list of, again, these are a list of text, and I can feed it into the fuzzy search. So what does it really do is that if I go to this folder, I think it's project folder. If I list it down, you can see my project folder basically are my programming folders. I have multiple of them, and each one of them includes something. What the finter does is that when I type finter, it gives me the list of the folder on my project. And if I select any one of them, it will create a new session in tmux. For example, if I give it this one, you create a totally new instance of tmux and go to that folder. So now I can fire a different whatever I want to do here. So it's a totally new instance. I can open my Neovim, I can create a new tab here, and I can jump back to the original session. I have a hotkey, Ctrl+A+O. You see, I have all these folders plus sessions. If it's a non-initialized session, then it will create the session. If it's already initialized, like this 0, 1, it will jump back. So I can quickly jump back through multiple ones. For example, if I work with the advent of code, I will go there. If I want to go back to my 0 session, to go back to the session. So this is one of the neat things I also enjoy a lot. Okay, that is all I want to talk about. In the end, Vim is not an easy tool. There's a lot of configuration and settings and things to learn. But the good thing is that it's really a tailored tool for you to do the text editing. If you ask me whether you should learn Vim or Neovim at all, my answer is if you do a lot of coding and you use text editor, you edit in files, edit in code a lot in your life, I recommend to learn it. As you can see, you can build the skills on top of the basic ones, and in the future all these plugins, all these complex skills you can reuse in your life, in this text editing life. And on top of that, basically all the popular text editor has the Vim keys. That's like a Visual Studio Code has Chrome, the browser, you can use the Vim key to move around. The Firefox has it. IntelliJ also have it. So you basically, this DA word, D in word, D a paragraph, D a method, all these things, what you have learned in Vim, you can reuse it in all the other text editors. But in the end, my answer to that simple question, whether you should learn it or not, is really, do you think by doing these things can bring you happiness? If it does, then why not? And this gives us, the Salesforce developer, a chance to explore the open source things. A lot of us, I know that we stick to Salesforce, but Salesforce is really like a tiny thing in terms of the whole software engineering world. So that is all. Thanks for your time. See you next time. Bye-bye.